I'll say that again. I'd like to call to order the work session for the Caroline County Planning Commission, Thursday, April 27th, 2023.
Second. Okay.
All right, what we have on our work session is text 10-2023. Mr. Mike Fincham, if you please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, your item on the for work session tonight is the proposed zoning ordinance text amendment TXT 10-2023, which would create a new section in the plan development regulations for innovation, research, and technology parks. Everybody knows the zoning ordinance is broken down into a number of different articles, and land use in the county is regulated as a guide by the comprehensive plan, but in terms of regulations by the zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance has several different commercial and industrial districts. We have a B1 district for commercial uses. We have an M1 district for industrial uses. We also have a planned development district for commercial and industrial uses. And the idea behind the planned industrial district is where you have larger parcels of land. This district, we encourage people to use this district so that they can plan and develop that large tract of land in a cohesive manner, okay? Versus a piecemeal development that you see usually with your B1 or your M1 regs, which I would suggest are more appropriate to single use sites versus multiple use sites. But people are accustomed over the years to using just the B1 and M1. The primary impetus for this new district are technology types of uses. And primarily what the county is seeing right now is an interest from data center developers who basically in Northern Virginia, they've run out of electrical capacity for these projects. They're looking for new areas or the next area to invest for these projects. And Caroline and Spotsylvania, as well as a few other localities, are now hot spots for this type of development. Currently, data centers are allowed in the M1 industrial zoning district as a by right use. They're allowed in the B1 district as a special exception use. As we saw with the application last month that the Planning Commission considered, these properties need to be located near electrical transmission lines or larger size distribution lines to support the electrical demands of these users. As an example, the project last month was located on a transmission line on the western edge of their county. But because of that location, it necessitated the extension of public water and sewer approximately 4 miles from the current growth area to serve this new site. I think that has the potential to be an issue that the commission and the board have to deal with on a number of applications that they may see because of the demands of this type of industry, the electrical needs as well as the water and sewer needs, and the fact that these have to be really large tracts of land to support major data center investment. The draft regulations, and I think if you've had a chance to look through them and you recall the application last month, attempts to address some of the problems that application was an example of, okay? In terms of more specifically defining the locations of the uses, the design standards for the uses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think a second major thought related to this district, if you look at the M1 regulations, there are a lot of other industrial uses besides data centers. You can have warehouse and distribution facilities. You can have truck terminals, freight terminals. There's a lot of different industrial uses out there that may not be appropriate. Number one, potentially conflict with data centers and these technology uses. But secondly, given the location of the application, you may not want to consider those other uses should the original data center intent fail to materialize. It's kind of the old bait and switch. I'm telling you that I want a data center, but I've also got this designed where it could be a major distribution center with truck traffic. That's something that we try to eliminate is with this new district regulations and focus on the technology side of things and not allow these other types of industrial uses to potentially creep into this zoning. And I think something like that will be very important to you and to the county as a whole as applications work their way through the process. Otherwise, you're going to have to rely on the proffering out uses that you may not think are appropriate. And that occasionally is a bone of contention when it comes to the zoning process. So we've tried to take that aspect out of it, focus on technology uses and supporting ancillary and supporting uses that are appropriate for that type of industry. That's kind of an overview in a nutshell. I know this is, we gave you a draft copy at the last meeting, but we actually gave you the version that in its current form for you all to take a look at prior to the work session tonight. So I wanted to give you all a chance to ask any questions or identify any issues that you would like us to look at.
We're talking about new areas that we haven't really zoned for technology yet. In some cases.
In some cases, yes. It could apply to existing properties within the current growth area that may be planned for industrial uses, but we've not yet received an application for it. And I would suggest that the same concerns apply. If we're looking at technology, we don't necessarily want a warehouse and distribution there and the traffic that it might bring. So we say to the developer, you want to do a data center? Let's keep it a data center. Let's not look at these other uses that are totally different.
Our property that's over near Thornburg, it's in my district.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's power lines over there. What kind of water is over there in the Caroline?
Caroline does not have public water and sewer in that area. Any discussions would be with a neighboring jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Okay. That's the only questions I had.
Using that as an example, okay, aside from the comprehensive plan issue, okay, that the commission and board would have to work through, that's a good example. Would you want M1 industrial there with all those variety of uses?
And trucks.
And potentially.
Or do you want a data center?
Or do you want technology type uses that,
with jobs and paying us good taxes.
yes.
Yeah, those are
I mean,
my,
that's probably a good example.
those are my thoughts.
Mhm.
Well, it might come down to it, it's gonna be sewage and water, right? I mean,
Water, sewer, and electric.
Yeah.
Those
that's
are the
gonna
three.
be-
So, Mr. Fitchum, you were saying in order to keep some of these, what we consider adverse projects, we must not allow them in this district that we want for this concept. In other words, we have to zone out certain things like manufacturing, truck drivers. I mean, there are certain things that's what I'm understanding you telling me, that we can't just go carte blanche, that we have to be specific as to what we want to leave out of this particular district.
And that's what we have attempted to do. Now, let me clarify that. In this district, manufacturing is allowed if it's related to a technology industry, say a computer plant, manufacturing plant, okay? Something like that would be allowed in this district because it is a technology-based manufacturing business. Okay?
So then we have to judge whether it's a technology-based company going into that particular area before we can actually vote yes or no on these particular things.
No, not necessarily. You give us the parameters. Okay? So let's go to section 2 on page 1. So your permitted principal uses, okay? Manufacturer of scientific precision and research instruments. So if you have a high-tech manufacturing operation, okay, that say they manufacture lasers, okay, that they have a contract with the federal government and manufacture lasers. That type of industry, if the county approves a PERT zoning designation, and that is allowed as one of those uses, then when an applicant comes into the county and says, I want to do a manufacturing operation, this is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm manufacturing high precision lasers for industry A. Okay, we would look at that, look at what they're doing, and say, yes, that fits under this classification. If somebody came in and said, I make dumpster bodies for roll-off trucks, no, that would not fit under that definition. So essentially what the board does, it gives us the parameters for the uses when it approves a zoning district. And then when an application comes in, staff is the one that has to vet that to make sure that it meets the criteria.
Okay, so then staff basically judges and sends it to us first or the board first?
Now, you would look at it through the rezoning.
Okay,
So you're simply approving an application with the manufacturer of scientific precision and research instruments.
okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
You make your recommendation to the board, and the board says, yes, we're approving this rezoning for a PERT district with uses A through Z. It's the same concept as a developer coming in and applying for M1. So when you look at it and you make your recommendation to the board, you've looked at the uses, you said, we think these uses are inconsistent, or these uses are consistent,
With what we're proposing.
and the applicant makes his adjustments accordingly. Basically, the same process in terms of the rezoning itself.
Thank you.
Mr. Fincham, how are we going to arrive at a determination of what area is supposed to be PERT designated?
Comprehensive plan. If you will recall at the last meeting, in addition to the rezoning, there was also a comprehensive plan amendment for the Carmel Church area.
Yes, sir?
And there were two areas where the PERT designation was identified for that comprehensive plan amendment.
Yes, sir.
And the planning commission recommended one area for approval and recommended the other area for denial. So unless the property is already within a growth area, Carmel Church, Ladysmith, Bowling Green, Dawn, the first action would be to consider a comprehensive plan amendment where that property is not already zoned or identified in the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Those areas you just mentioned, those growth areas, are all of them right now on water and sewage? So we got, I know Carmel Church is,
Yeah,
Ladysmith is, right?
Ladysmith is, Dawn has some water, but no, Dawn has sewer, but no water.
Okay,
Um,
and then,
Bowling Green area has some water and some sewer, depending on the area. Milford is really the only industrial area in the Bowling Green Milford district that a use like this might be able to go in. And the Milford Industrial Park, most of that is already zoned industrial, so that those technology uses could already go there.
okay, thank you.
So, Mike, you were mentioning that some of these places will be manufacturers, and we don't like to proffer out certain things and move into a different. Enlighten me on how this would work if they are a manufacturing facility, but also want to sell some of their products.
There are actually, if you would look in section 2O, we have provisions for retail sales and showrooms for goods manufactured on premises. So we try to anticipate that.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Weaver, have you had a chance to look at the architecturals?
No, I have not yet,
Okay.
Mike, looked at the architectural. I can only say, right now, I'm a bit concerned, this being brought to us at this particular time. I think there are some vague statements being made here by our own staff, okay? That I think I'd like to wait to consider this application. Just my feeling, guys.
This is still the work session.
Okay.
And we still have the public hearing during the regular meeting. But certainly, the purpose of this was to give you all the opportunity to look at it and start identifying your concerns.
But because this is a work session, Michael, that means that we have, at this particular time, no control over what's being brought in front of us. Is that correct?
Yeah, you've already authorized us to advertise the ordinance.
Correct.
Okay. But you certainly have the opportunity to make changes. And that was the whole purpose of both having the work session before the public hearing. One, to give you the opportunity to start looking at it, because we, obviously don't want to drop it on you cold. And there have been some changes since the version that was given to you all under any and all matters at your March meeting. So we've been diligently working, but we don't claim that this is a finished product.
And this just authorizes you to start working on this, correct? And then you would come back and show us the designated areas according to, because it would have to be approved to go in the comprehensive plan, right?
Yes, this does not zone anything.
Yeah, it just
Okay.
authorizes you to start working on it.
You're creating a district just like the M1 zoning district, okay? Which is already in your ordinance. All these regulations do is in effect create a new zoning district within the plan development regulations specifically geared towards technology developments and uses.
But we would see those areas
Yes.
before. So this is not like it's, this just kind of authorizes you all to start planning.
This is just the order.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody could do it right now. They could come in with an M1 zoning application right now and apply for something like this. I don't think you would have wanted to see an M1 zoning application for the rezoning that you saw and heard last month because of its location. And that's what this tries to do, is narrow the focus and get rid of those extraneous uses that in most cases probably would be incompatible with the zoning of that or a similar type of property.
So that when a technology comes in, once it's in the comprehensive plan, they'll know where to look rather than just picking, like something out 4 miles. What was the last one? 6 miles from the interstate.
Yes.
So this will give them more of an idea. But this is just authorizes.
This just creates
Yeah.
a zoning district, is all
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah,
It doesn't confer this zoning
exactly
on
where
any
the
piece of
district
property.
is yet.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So basically, we haven't decided where this can go.
Correct.
Pardon me.
I think that has to come back to us because it has to be in the comprehensive
Well, the
plan.
last time, remember, it was so many miles away, and they said, well, it was $13 million to bring the water and sewer in there, and we all looked at each other like, it's never going to happen.
Right. Now, we can't keep an applicant from coming in with an application, okay? But this district would narrow the potential negative, I shouldn't say negative, the potential uses that probably you would not want to consider with a zoning 4 miles from the growth area.
Agreed.
So Mike, this is kind of just creating a clearly defined framework of what is going to fall in that property zone.
In this zoning district, yes, sir, exactly. So we have, and like I said, we have our B1, which is our primary commercial zoning. We have M1, which is our primary industrial zoning. Those districts are already in place. This is a district just like that, under the auspices of the plan development regulations, which says you need to pay a little more attention to detail with this type of development. You need to give us a really good general development plan that shows what you intend to use the property for, what you're looking at in terms of square footage of your proposed uses, and, look at landscaping, good landscaping, good architectural design. So yeah, it's basically just giving you the framework for somebody to make an application.
So at that time, Michael, you would look at the whole application as a total design package.
That would be the intent. Yes, sir.
Because architecturally, I mean, since I know what I do there, I was looking through some of my old projects, and some of them were big boxes, but I'll tell you, they were beautiful. They are beautiful big boxes. So I just, like I say, it's kind of different. I guess because I do this for a living, I was like, okay. I looked in some of my stuff and I said, you could still have a big box, but it could be a pretty big box. Okay, that's the way I look at it. So I don't want to restrict anybody. I just, I want to be able to say, guys, this is kind of like we feel we'd like it to look like, just simply so that it gives them direction. Because when these applications come in, and we're talking about big applications, this is not a small application, okay? Guy wants to come in and put one of these in, we're talking about a building, 300,000 feet, right? Well, that's a big building, especially for Little Caroline County. 300,000 square feet is a big building. So I'm just trying to feel my way through this, just like everybody else is. I think I have probably more questions than I have answers right now. So I'd say I'll wait till the meeting and make a decision then. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Mr. Weaver and my fellow commissioners, we're not going to be able to take a vote on this evening. During our regular meeting, we will have an opportunity to address our concerns and potentially asking for additional time to do some more research, look at the architectural aspects, and look at the specifics of what's in the text amendment. So, it's nothing that during this work session that we're going to be able to take action on. It just gives us an opportunity to look at what is coming up at the regular meeting, and we can make a decision on its fate at that time. Am I correct, Mr. Finch?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I think, given the fact that you still have questions and you want to see some changes, it's appropriate for you to, hold the public hearing and then defer any action to your next meeting. And that will allow us time to address your concerns. If you still want some more time to finish, preparing your questions to give to staff, it'll give you time to do that and then still give us time to respond.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that because you have, at least on my part, you've given me some additional food for thought on this text. So I appreciate that.
Thank you too. I appreciate that.
Any commissioners have anything else? Any other questions?
I guess I would ask if anybody has looked at it and jotted down any questions, either if you have them, you can ask them now, or if you have some, you can ask them during the public hearing or after the public hearing.
Or even, and if by chance it is deferred, we can kick them to you at a later date.
Yes, sir. Just trying to have them filter in versus.
Yes, sir. Not saying that it is going to be deferred. I'm just saying that that's a possibility.
Yes, understood.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fincham.
Thank you.
That's all we had related to the
Work session.
work session tonight. So no other action can be taken until your regular meeting.
No other action to be taken. We will entertain a motion to adjourn until our next regular meeting at 7 p.m. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion.
Dr. Horton makes a proper motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Weaver. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned until our regular scheduled meeting at 7 p.m.